here, and I'm just finishing up a biteful of the most delicious baked good I may have ever tried. It satisfies checks all the boxes.
Yes.
She made homemade granola, people.
It's so good.
It's like everything you want those Nature Valley bars to be, but they aren't, and you bite into them, and you're like, "What is this
sawdust?"
Yeah, yes.
Unless Nature's Valley,
or it's like unless Nature's Valley would like sponsor us, in which case they're delicious.
They actually are delicious, but they are too crumbly,
way too. And they're like, I'm like, I can use this as a doorstop, but not a delicious snack. So
see,
thank
homemade's
you for this.
The best.
Man, it's good.
I'll post that recipe. You guys.
Should.
It's really yummy and super easy.
Oh my god, it's so delicious.
Episode 365, we are satiated.
Yes.
And we're hopped up on caffeine.
Yes.
This is bound to be an excellent
so much caffeine.
episode. How are you, Sarah?
Really strong coffee this morning. I'm doing really well. I'm just like enjoying my house. I finally hung some curtains up, which was like, I really need to. I put my I'd like to talk about Halloween decorations.
Okay.
Remember when I gave you I ordered you, demanded that you not let me buy anymore?
Yeah.
I finally opened my boxes and went through everything. I don't even have that much Halloween shit.
What? Is something missing?
No, you know what it is? It's a lot of stuff that are actually items that I use in my house. Like all of my, I in my mind had pictured my mantle from last Halloween, and it was just like chock full of stuff.
Yeah.
And then when I went to go create the same mantle, I was like, where are all my, that's right. Those are actual jars of like all my witchy stuff that I have in the other room.
What do they have in there? Sage and stuff?
Yeah, it's like, but like a whole bunch of different herbs and like, you know, all the cool stuff that like mugwort and like all this really cool, like dried, it's just stuff you'd make tea with.
Right.
Like I've got some cool stuff. Like I think one's called Angelica root or something like that. Gives you really great dreams. So things like that, just like relaxing teas, peppermint, lavender, rose hips.
You're saying this isn't even seasonal.
Right. It's just like my regular stuff. Yeah. And then I was like, where's all the,
So now you're back on the market.
You're going to start shopping. And now I'm like super excited to go buy Halloween stuff.
And do you have something in mind?
Yeah, I need something for the door because my wreath, before I had this homemade, like I made myself this beautiful Halloween wreath that's huge, but my door isn't as big in my new place. And I put it up and it looks ridiculous. Oh. It's like, you know, putting like, I don't know, something really huge on something really small. Whatever funny thing pops in your head with that I can't think of right now.
Yes.
You think with all this coffee, I would be able to come up with a good metaphor.
You must be very happy then because you get to
I'm giving myself permission. And I put, it looks so cool.
I just thought that you could use cheesecloth to make a spider web. Which I thought would be very cool.
Yeah.
Because it did look spooky and great.
I have seen you dip cheesecloth in starch, like the starch that, you know, like spray starch or whatever, and then you wrap it over a foam ball or like any kind of ball. A balloon would even work. And then you let it dry, and then you take the ball out, and it looks like a ghost. And you can like, it makes it look floaty.
I'm into that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
Oh my gosh, you have a lot of work to do.
I sure do. I can't wait.
Not a lot of time.
That's right. Ooh, better get on it.
Before you jump in, I see her like going to her notes, but I've been wanting to talk about this.
Oh yeah, what do you got?
Okay, so I saw this in Real Simple. You know, it was
I love that magazine.
I do too.
It's so good.
Smart fixes for life's little disasters. I like reading their ideas, and it said, "What do you do like if you finish a puzzle and you're still missing a piece?"
Yeah.
Okay.
Big problem.
I mean, not big.
Well, I mean, if you're
Small.
That's true. I don't know, what size is the puzzle?
Well, it says like, here's what you should do. You know, contact the manufacturer. Maybe they'll send you one. Whatever. Yeah. But then it says, or check out the Jigsaw Doctor, jigsawdoctor.com. This is not an ad. A service that recreates missing pieces in about 2 weeks. Just mail in the surrounding pieces, noting the artist's name or puzzle manufacturer, and email a photo. And then the Jigsaw Doctor will make a new piece, and it's $13 per piece. Now, Sarah.
Yes.
Sorry. How is this a real business?
I was wondering the same thing.
Come on.
Yeah.
How many people not only do puzzles, but like are so invested in it that if they have a missing one, they must find it?
Or is this like the niche market that this guy is like the only one out there? And if you're a puzzle, if like puzzles are your thing and you're like,
If puzzles are your thing, you ought not be losing the pieces.
This is also correct.
It seems like you would also be very conscientious about the pieces.
Yeah.
Come on. And how is this a viable business?
I've never finished a puzzle and been missing a piece because, like, they come straight out of the box and then you like dump it out and then you do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Unless, I guess, your cat or dog takes it.
I was thinking the same thing.
But come on.
I did have a puzzle piece. I did a puzzle recently with my friend Morgan at her grandma's house. Aww. And, it was real fun. Her grandma started it and then, like, was like, I'm bored of this. And we were like, we're not. And we were up to, like, 2 a.m. and we couldn't stop. We were like crazy people.
Yes.
And her cat or somebody had chewed on the side of one. And it was, when we were all done.
Yeah.
And it was like, those were the last pieces. There was something about those pieces being, like, not even with, like, it's almost like an OCD thing of, like, I need this to be smooth for it to be. Have you seen those images online that'll be like people who just want to watch the world burn, and it'll be like a roll of gum, like that bubble gum tape that they've just bitten out of, or something that's like breaking all the, like a Kit Kat bar that you just bite out of. You're like, who does that? You break them. You're eating it wrong. And it's like unsettling like that. That's the same feeling. If you're like, oh, I did all that and I need it to be smooth now, and like that's supposed to be the final piece, and it like creates this feeling of anxiousness for me to be like,
I think, like, I can imagine being that enthusiastic and wanting to complete it, and so contacting the Jigsaw doctor. I cannot believe that this person has a... Do you think he lives off of this?
No, this is a side thing.
Okay,
this
you think this is like a passion project?
Yes, I do. I think this is somebody who loves puzzles and was like, I know what... Or he did that for like 2 of his friends who are also puzzle people. And they were like, you should start a business where you do that. And he just offered up his services, and
maybe
it's this little side thing.
It says, though... I don't know why I care so much.
Doctor, where did he get his... where did he go to medical school? Yeah, that's his... What if that's it? He's like a regular doctor, and then on the side, he's a puzzle doctor. It's like, what do you treat? People and puzzles. What's your specialty? Corners.
Corners. You do have to send in like all the surrounding pieces, right? You know, to ensure the perfect fit.
Have you ever done anything like that where you've sent like, you know, when they say like money back guarantee or sent in or something like that, where you've contacted a manufacturer?
I've almost had to send in Lincoln's 99 to get repairs to the like teddy bear doctor.
Yes,
or whatever they
that's
call
what
that
made
guy.
me this story made me think of the teddy bear.
I love it. I love the idea. I just need to know like how much money is this person making from $13 per jigsaw piece when there's only like 10 people that would even do it.
And I just feel like when most of the puzzles that I see are about $7. So to think that you're spending double the price of the puzzle
for one piece
on these kind of things, I'm like, oh, this is the same problem I have with my Tupperware where I need new lids, but it's more expensive to buy new lids than to buy a whole new set. And I'm like caught in this torn. What do I do? What's the smarter?
By the way, I'm compiling our clip show that we're someday doing.
Yeah.
It's taking forever, but
there are a lot of good clips. What can we say?
And a lot of the funniest clips are when you are angry at someone in retail. That is a thing.
I am often angry at... I think that's from being in retail and having like a... Maybe. I don't know.
Because you feel like you were so good and they should be too, or what?
No, it's got to be something about my hard-earned dollar and where I spend it and wanting to not get, like, duped. Because even as I was asking you, like, what have you ever called into the manufacturer? I bought a box of cereal.
Oh, no.
It is stale. I bought it one day. It's stale. And it's like one of those health foodie kinds.
Stop.
And I'm like, I got to bring this back to the grocery store. And then I was like, oh, I lost the receipt. I don't want to do that. And then like, I wonder if they have a money-back guarantee. And I had to have very... like a come to Jesus talk with myself of like my time and value, and is it worth it to do this, cut out the UPC code, send it in, like wait however many weeks, deposit a check for $3.99?
You must be really passionate about justice.
I am super on that Enneagram thing. Justice, I am very into that. Well, it all comes down to me not being believed. It's like, it's one of those. It has to, I know that this is rooted in, you know, my childhood and not being believed in my trauma. Because being believed and being heard and like justice and the right thing is so important to me.
Because like there are so many. Recently, even there was the Kinko's guy you were mad at.
That guy.
There's been more than one car wash attendant.
Oh, don't even get me started on those assholes. Yeah, don't do their job.
And then of course Chrissy from OXO or whatever that company where you were mad about your frying pan. Don't worry, that's in the clip show.
Oh my God. It's so funny you say that because in the divorce, Landon and I divided up all the pots and pans and he gave me that one. And I used it the other day. I'm like, this fucking pan. I was mad again. And we had always said that it's probably our stove because, like, it was at an angle.
Oh.
It is not our stove. It is the pan. I am still mad. And the fact that that's the one that I got, I'm like, oh, God. Anyways.
Well, one company you won't have to complain to is Omax, who makes the wonderful cryo-freeze, basically like a pain reliever. Yeah. It's like icy hot. Did you get yours?
No, not yet.
Oh my gosh.
But I've been using a lot of their other products. Oh. Well, one in particular.
They also make a sexual arousal CBD oil.
Yes, it's lovely.
She's been using. Well, now you'll have to try the cryo freeze. I tried it. I had just I had a case of the 40s.
Yeah.
And it was really nice. And the cool thing is that it reduces inflammation and it improves muscle and joint flexibility. But it's that same kind of like CBD, OBD. What's that?
Well, OPP is.
We're down with it, whatever it is. Anyway, it's a basic cooling effect, but it's natural and lovely and lasts a really long time. CryoFreeze is an advanced pain relief product line that was inspired by cryotherapy, which means cold therapy. The treatment exposes the body to cold temperatures in order to numb and reduce the pain. It's great for athletes. I'm not one of them, but so if you're looking to relieve your muscle and joint pain within 15 minutes and need a natural yet powerful solution that's tested and works, try CryoFreeze Pain Relief Roll-On. This quick-absorbing, scientifically backed formula provides pain relief instantly, and if pro athletes use it, well, it must work. Remember, go to omaxhealth.com today and enter code BRAINCANDY to take advantage of the incredible savings. That's omaxhealth.com and enter code BRAINCANDY. Get 20% off CryoFreeze and site-wide. Don't let muscle soreness continue to be an excuse for living an active lifestyle. Go to omaxhealth.com and feel relief faster.
Yes. So I have some cool info to share that I feel like is super appropriate at this time in my life.
Okay.
Because it is about dating.
Great.
And people's ideas about their partner. Like, how can we know that somebody else was into it, had a good time? And
the date or like sex?
The date. Okay. Like the other person. Mm-hmm. Like, what kind of signs tell us that the other person... So we have this whole idea that, like... You know, visible cues like facial expressions or eye contact or like, oh my gosh, look at those two people. Like they look at each other so deeply. That was what researchers like thought would be an indicator of like, oh, we can tell if the couple
chemistry or whatever.
Turns out not true at all. The mutual attraction between a couple was predicted best when their heart rates and sweat synchronized.
Synchronized?
Yes. Like when people are, so it did not matter what their body language looked like towards each other. In fact, women tended to be more, like it didn't match. Like a woman it's almost like we're catering to the situation and like doing what we're supposed to do on a first date. And we can have like body language that says we like them, eye contact, good conversation. But unless your unless your heartbeat and sweat are also reacting and at the same level that the other person is reacting, there's really no chemistry.
Come on.
It really comes down to chemistry as far as like there's something that's going on there where you guys, the two people, when they feel that kind of way towards each other, their heartbeats will sync. And they'll start perspiring at the same rate. Do you think this is limited
to a dating situation, or do you think any social contact would be that way?
Oh, good question. I think it's got to there's got to be that heightened state of arousal. And I think the idea of like, it's like a biological like procreation thing that it comes down to of like, is this a partner that I would like? And I feel like that only really happens in an intimate sort of relationship.
Yeah.
Because like, as great as our conversations are, I don't... maybe our heart rate and sweat because it's a different kind of arousal.
Chemistry.
Yeah, it's almost more like like I can relax and it kind of goes down.
Yeah, because if you imagine, like, let's say you're meeting a celebrity that you admire, your heart rate and sweat are going to be through the roof, and theirs isn't. Because it's not chemistry, it's just you adore them.
Right. Okay, good point. Yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah. It was, so how they set it up.
How am I supposed to gauge this?
I know, that's the hard part. But I went on a date recently and I was like, oh my God, my heart's beating really fast. And they were like, mine is too. And I was like,
you said it?
Yes.
That's really sweet.
Yeah, because it was.
I'm all for that.
So, me too. And I'm all about congruent communication.
Yeah.
And it like feels good to say because I'm like, he's going to hear this because it's so loud. And so,
Oh my God.
And then I was like,
this is freaking me out just thinking about it.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And, okay, so there were other interesting things in here. The big takeaway, they said, is that people are not accurate in predicting their partner's romantic intentions. And
this is terrible.
Only half of the participants correctly guessed how much their partner liked them. And also, if you rated your partner as less attractive, you also thought they liked you less. If you rate them as more attractive, you think they like you more. Because you almost want them to like you more because you see them as a viable match. It's like everything we think, it's totally...
So is the lesson here like you fucking never know?
Right. It's like we can't trust our,
I don't like this story.
It says, the researcher said, the results contradicted the notion that people excel in their mind reading capacities. They also added, instead, we found similarly to economic predictions, people are not very good emotional statisticians. Like we cannot do a good job predicting whether somebody likes us or not, which is like, ooh. Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Do you think some people are better than others?
I think maybe. Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm real good at it, Sarah.
Yeah, it says, so they used like machine learning techniques for this of like looking at people's tracking eye movement and stuff like that. And there were some people who were better at, I think maybe that has to do with your like level of empathy or maybe how like reading others' emotions is kind of like a survival technique for you growing up. But it said using machine learning techniques, they were able to detect whether behavioral and physiological patterns could predict participants' mutual attraction. This was unable to predict a successful match if it slowly looked at expression. So if like the machine kind of took into account just people's expressions, smiling, laughing, head nodding, hand gesture, face touching, and where their eyes were going, like looking at the partner's body or eyes or whatever.
Yeah.
However, when looking at their levels of sweating and heartbeats, it could make accurate guesses. So the machines look like doing the research. We're like, well, I don't know if we look at the body language. None of that's true.
Yeah.
But just looking at the sweat and heart rate, they're like, yep.
Well, it's like a lie detector test. That's what they measure too.
Totally. Yeah.
Ooh, this is getting worse for me.
Oh my gosh, I kind of like it. Well,
do you?
I don't know. Now that I said, because it's like sometimes I feel like it was a good date.
Exactly.
And I'm like, fuck, maybe it wasn't a good date.
Oh my God.
I just assume everybody who goes on a date with me had just had the best time ever.
You should do an exit interview after each one.
Wouldn't that be funny?
I have a few questions.
Right, and I kind of do it with my clients. So what was the session like for you?
No, you don't.
Well, it's
every week?
Not every week, but like when they're new clients, I'll be like, what was this like for you?
What's the feedback?
Was it like,
oh my
whatever.
God.
So what was our date like for you? How do you rate it? Let me check your pulse.
Right.
Let me check your sweat.
Can you imagine if you did?
Well, then I think about the sweating, and, I read a research study previously that said that the scent from a man's underarms has a calming and relaxing effect on women, and that, everything is like pheromones and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I wonder if the sweating that we're doing is a way to release those pheromones that then draw us to the person. So is it like it's almost like that chicken and the egg thing. What comes first, the sweating, and then we feel attracted to them because that releases the pheromones? Or does the feeling of attraction then create the release of whatever? So it just means more research. I think it's cool, though.
It's like Pepe Le Pew. Didn't he release that?
Yeah, except he was like a rapist.
Well, yes. He had some character flaws. But...
Right. One of those being the inability to ask for consent.
Oh, my God. Now she's mad at cartoons.
Well, I just read this or watched this video recently from Misrepresentation, that website, and they were talking about, like how, like gender in how basically how the
In
past
pop
not
culture.
not so good with like Animal House and all these
Yeah.
shows where it's like they're peeping toms and then the girls are like laughing at it. Oh, we catch you. Ooh. It's like whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
I
and
noticed
now we
a lot
watch
of
that.
this.
We'll be like, oh, can't do that.
Was Pepe Le Pew included in this analysis?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sarah's not
They're a
alone
lot
in
of
her
fun.
rage.
No, right. That's where I got the idea.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, here's something that also stinks. I read this disgusting article
Oh, gosh.
about how, have you ever been to like, I'm sure you have, State Fair or one of those type of things?
With you.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Every year with you together.
But I wasn't done.
Okay.
Where they have, and this may have been where we were, but I don't remember seeing them, where they have all those booths and sometimes they have like hot tubs.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Well, evidently there was an outbreak.
I saw. Okay.
So gross.
Keep going.
Well, there was an outbreak of Legionnaire's disease and Pontiac fever, whatever that is.
And not an insane obsession with the car. It's not that. It's probably worse. What if
There's a cure for that.
Yeah, right. By Pontiac.
Like over 100 people and even one death, tragically. And they had, how they have to, when there's like a food poisoning thing, they have to kind of figure out where this is coming
and quarantine it.
So they did like all the interviews, like where were you, where'd you go? And they realized all of them had been to the state fair. And specifically, people that had gone to the state fair that hadn't gone near these hot tubs were safe, but people that walked by them had a greater walked by them.
For Christ's sake, I was under the impression that it was.
They were like jumping in.
Yeah, in my head,
right.
I was like, there are holes in this story. Who's getting into a hot tub at a state fair?
Yeah.
Do you bring your bathing
I mean,
suit?
I wouldn't
Are they
put it
testing
past
it?
people,
Like maybe
to be
stick their
honest,
feet in
but-
it or whatever.
Right.
Ew.
Because it's that you contract these illnesses by air from like the mist of the water.
Oh my! And they have the mist. That's exactly what's. Oh, gross.
But like the article didn't say whether the actual folks running that particular.
Oh, good question.
Like I don't know if it's sort of like if your immune system's bad or like if some people are higher risk or what. Can you imagine just walking past one of these fucking things? And
No, I can't.
They should ban those.
It just seems like hot tubs are kind of gross. Like, oh.
I mean, they're definitely not clean.
No, and they're full of. I mean, and the one at my house, they ended up draining because it wasn't circulating enough, and mosquitoes were starting to hang out.
Oh, for Pete's sake!
And we're like, why am I getting bit by mosquitoes?
My
My mom's
God.
like, I think it's the hot tub. And then I call. She's right about everything like that.
One thing that's not gross is Just Fab clothing.
Not gross at all.
Sarah loves it. I do
It's
too, but
Just
like
Fab.
it is Just
Yeah.
Fab. It lives up to her name.
Those booty lifting jeans do in fact lift your booty. And I was like,
Okay.
I'm skeptical. I'll just get them and see because yeah,
Really?
they are great.
Well, there's an endorsement.
Whatever
for
those
sure.
are made out of.
Wow.
Lift my booty.
Okay. Well, Just Fab's really cool because they are constantly updating their inventory. So they have all the latest trends and looks and styles for whatever season it is. And it's just constant new pieces that you can choose through. Or you can take their 60-second style quiz and they'll personalize the outfit recommendations. I think that's how you got yours.
That is. And they're like, what do you think about this outfit, this outfit? I'm like, yep, that one. Don't have to think anymore.
She got
Head to
every
toe.
item.
Yeah. You could check that picture out on my Instagram.
You get a personalized boutique with a ton of different styles, and you can check out as a guest or become a VIP. If you're a VIP, you get 30 to 50% off retail, free shipping on orders over $39. It's just really fun to have a look around, see what they got, get some new threads for the new season. And they have a deal for you. Just Fab is offering our listeners an exclusive deal. Just get your first Just Fab style for as low as $10 as a VIP. That's 75% off your first item with our special link. Just go to justfab.com/braincandy. You can take advantage of the deal now. That's justfab.com/braincandy to get your first style for as low as $10 as a VIP. You can also get free shipping on orders over $39, and there's no commitment when you purchase your first order. Justfab.com/braincandy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, how gross is that, though?
Super, super gross.
Like,
God.
who has ever bought a hot tub because they saw one at the fucking state fair?
This is a good point.
But
Well, here's the
probably
thing.
a lot of people, or they wouldn't do it.
Or maybe it's like one of those things where it's like a traveling, like it's like one company and they just like pack everything up and travel from like town to town, like hawking their
They're
hot
like
tubs.
carnies.
Yeah. Ew. And then you're
their
going
hot
from town to town, like
with your Pontiac
cleaning
fever.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's really gross.
I mean, I totally could see it if it were, if you got in.
Yeah.
But the mist...
Right. Is nowhere safe.
That's how it feels.
Right.
Like,
God.
This is a fatalistic worldview.
Right.
But,
you'd think you'd get, like, less germ conscious as you get older because it's like, oh, they're everywhere, whatever. I'm having the opposite.
Really?
Like...
What's going on?
I don't know.
Maybe it's because you're getting divorced, though, because you want control of it.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah,
I just feel like, there are germs everywhere. Ugh, everything's gross.
In the world or in your house?
In the world.
Yeah.
Well, in my house, too.
And also...
Yeah. And also my house, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. But, that's just because...
Like, what grosses you out the most?
Oh, what grossed me out recently the most is I realized, like... I'm very allergic to dust and like all the stuff in there.
Yeah,
just
you're
like,
very sensitive about
very
that
sensitive.
stuff.
My skin is like crazy sensitive. And I cleaned my whole house. It was so nice, blah, blah, blah. I've been having the fan has been going like, I never turn off because it's hot and like air circulation.
Yeah.
I turned off the fan the other night and I looked up and it was covered in dust, and just like the realization that fan spinning has been just sending that dust all over. I had to strip my bed, wash everything, like vacuum like a crazy person. I was just like, why is my room so dusty every day? And I'm literally vacuuming and dusting it daily. How is there still this much dust?
Are you serious?
And then when I realized how much I am sure that those fan blades had not been cleaned in
probably ever
8 years, if not longer.
I used to, I don't have fans now, but when I did, I had like a designated sock
that
I would put on and
that's great.
Wipe them off with the sock.
And I did crazy things. Like, I was like, I can't have this shit going on my bed. So I took trash bags and I cut them open, flayed them flat. Yes. And then I did it I'm like, right, what am I going to do?
Yeah. Because it's right over your bed.
Yes. And it was like grossing me out, all that stuff.
Was it like sticky?
It was everything you don't want it. It was like, just like, it took a lot of elbow grease to get it off.
You got to burn the whole place down.
Burn it down. Just start over. Yeah.
The right thing to do.
That just seems like the right thing to do. Yeah.
Okay, next story for you.
Yes.
What about Estonia's Isle of Women?
What? I want to move there.
Estonia has an island on which almost all women live. There's only about 5 men.
Oh my goodness!
It began as like they went off to fish, so it was just women running the
never came back. They're like, it's real nice out here with just us. And then I love that they just keep 5 for like procreation and sex purposes. I imagine them locked up in a dungeon somewhere.
I don't even know. Like, I don't know how it's possible that there aren't more.
Or these 5 just like, we really get women. We see them.
Yeah, what if they're just gay guys? That are like, we love it here.
We love it.
But like it's very oldie worldy. If you, this was in the New York Times, I think, and they had all these pictures, and they were like wearing babushkas and stuff.
I have been to Estonia, and I know. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Really, and it was very like old world.
Yes.
Okay, this was like that, and the women are trying really hard to maintain their just culture and all of that, and the young people are real angry and annoyed. It
does look like a time capsule when you go there.
Yeah.
It even has like we walked by one like old abandoned like fairgrounds with like the skeleton of a Ferris wheel. Yeah, it's like that kind of stuff. Oh my God, do my voice, my Estonian voice. Is that spooky? I thought you were saying, it's funny that you said that. What I thought you were referring to, and I'm like, how do you even remember this? Is when I went on a trip there with Landon, we were going to a bunch of places in like that
Eastern
area.
Europe, yeah.
And I am terrible at accents. I can't do them at all.
Yes.
And
this is the one.
Yes, we discovered that the one accent that I've been doing my whole life happens to be how they sound in Estonia. He was like, that sounds like you. And I was like, that's it. I crush accents, but only one, and it's Estonian, and I will not do it for you on here.
It's
Don't
really
even
good,
ask
though.
Me.
Maybe she'll do it on Insta Story because it is hilarious. And usually when you use it, it's to reference, like, why you have curly hair, because I'm always like, how do you have curly hair? I don't get it. And then you become this other person
who would probably wear a babushka,
right? You would probably love the Isle of Women.
I would. That's
what I wanted to ask you. Like, if you had to choose to live in a normal world, or just one with like a handful of fellas? What would you choose? I'm asking you at the wrong time in your life.
I was just saying that. I was like, well, I don't know about how many of them I would swipe right on or left on or whatever ways. Yes, right. I want to hang out with you.
Right.
Like, slim pickings.
Yeah, at this time, I don't think that would work for you.
It's like, I'm all about quantity right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, keeping your options open.
I'm supposed to do that.
I bet it gets real lonely in that department in the Isle of Women.
Yeah, but maybe they're like fine with it. Because I think past a certain age, you might be like, I don't care.
Remember when I asked your mom about that?
I know, that's who I was thinking of.
Yeah, that rocked my world.
Because you, mother, this is not like us.
Right, because Sally Rice legendarily was a real hot tamale.
Hot tamale.
And then I asked her last time I saw her, are you still...
Right. She's got the BDE is really what it is.
Yeah, and she's like, no, I don't care. I don't need it.
She doesn't care.
When does that hit?
I don't know.
I can't wait.
Right. She's just like, I don't care about this.
Get rid of a lot of my
not
problems.
how I feel right now. I'm like the opposite.
All right. Well, Sarah's not moving to Estonia.
I am not.
But just keep the option open.
Isle of Women.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
Just like that.
I like the idea, and I would love to visit.
Yeah, that's fun. I said the same thing about Miami recently.
I'd love to visit. Never been there.
Oh, it's fun.
It seems fun.
It's super, super fun. I love Miami, but I was like, I don't know if I could live here because I would get like caught up in like
it's like Vegas.
Yes, totally. And it's like so fun, and just everybody's outside and dancing, and like you can go. I went by myself, and I was just hanging out on the little beach walk thing, and there was like a band, like steel drums and everything, and one guy just like grabbed me and we started like dancing, and it was just like, this is amazing, I love this.
Is that mainly in the South Beach area?
Yeah, that's where I was. Yeah,
not really in this normal where people live.
Yeah, I don't know.
We don't know who's going to go there. Not us.
Right. I just was there for a little bit, so didn't really get to explore.
Okay. So I can tell Sarah has a story, so I will just cut her off at the charge before she can do that. To tell you guys, I want to see if people tried Charles and Colvard, which is the moissanite gem company. I got some new rings. I'm cleaning my wedding, so I just shoved them on. Yeah. But anyway, they're so pretty and sparkly.
Oh, they're gorgeous. I was going to say, those aren't your diamond ones?
No.
Wow.
No. That's moissanite.
Oh, that's pretty. Oh, yeah.
I think so, and they're sparkly and delicate and lovely. Here's the deal. Charles and Colvard has been created and perfecting moissanite for over 20 years. It's the world's most brilliant gem, but it's made in a lab out of one of the rarest minerals on Earth, and it's ethically sound and conflict-free, which we love.
That.
They have beautiful, engagement stuff, bridal, fine jewelry that you can afford, all kinds of stuff. You should definitely look through it. I love that they're sustainable and conflict-free and all that stuff. It's just really cool.
Holidays are coming up.
An
engagement time if you're looking to do that.
Yeah, consider moissanite instead of the other stuff because it's much better for the world. Learn more and get 20% off with our special listener offer at charlesandcolvard.com/braincandy. Again, that's charlesandcolvard.com/braincandy.
Yes. Okay, I learned something recently in this article that blew my mind, and I can't believe I didn't know this, especially being in the field that I'm in. And I'm like, did I just miss this? So people who have schizophrenia can't form metaphors. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. They can't make metaphors.
I'm just sitting here trying to think of why.
So when you say something like, give us a hand or break a leg.
Come on.
I know. I couldn't. It blew my mind.
So they also don't understand
They don't understand it. And for them, they see it as literal. So if you think about schizophrenics, and sometimes the world is very scary to them, and a lot of our metaphors tend to be rather violent. Yeah. And like, oh my gosh, I killed it the other day, or oh, this is just killing me, or whatever. Yeah. And if they miss the metaphors, and so it creates a social isolation because you can't connect to how people are using their speech, and that kind of further exacerbates the symptoms.
Wait a minute.
Super crazy. So they've studied the brain areas that are connected to these impaired metaphors, and it's like the way that we form, it's formed in a different place in their brain. Like it's like a metaphor. Okay. So they have to do a big workaround.
Why?
So we have a much faster connection to, and
like, what do you think it is about their brain, though, that's like short-circuiting in that way?
It's the prefrontal cortex and the left amygdala when they encounter a metaphor.
But what's different about a schizophrenic brain?
It activates in a different place. So that metaphor is like activated in kind of like they're more of an amygdala area, and they don't have any of the, like the prefrontal cortex is all of your executive functioning and logic and reasoning. So when a metaphor comes up, your executive functioning brain goes, they're not talking about actually breaking a leg. They're talking about, but if that part of your brain doesn't function as well, then you take everything literally.
I don't like this.
Isn't that crazy? I
don't understand.
And it says they find metaphors even more daunting than those struggling with a new language, making statements that are harmless to everyone else, misleading or even frightening.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it just like blew my mind because I couldn't even believe.
If you had to describe what schizophrenia is in layman's terms, how would you? Because I really don't understand what's cooking in there.
Well, it's an imbalance in certain like chemicals of the brain. I know that. But I think it's also like it's almost not like a short circuiting, but it's like the things that should be connected aren't, and it's almost like the brain had to do like a workaround, and it has to kind of do more work to like bypass and like create these connections.
What are the symptoms typically? I mean, we all it's
like the speech patterns is the stuff that can be the most like there's a big difference, and I have to remember the name of it, but like what it's called.
I know I'm putting you on the spot.
You don't have but there's bipolar disorder, or like a bipolar episode, and somebody with schizophrenia, they're with somebody who's schizophrenic. I think it's called tangential language, where it'll be like out of the blue. Things will say, like, you'll have no connection between statements, where it'll be like, we're talking about this, and then they're talking about this, and there's no link. Whereas somebody who has like who's in a bipolar episode will say, like, I need to go to the bank. Do you know the bank is closed on Tuesday? You know what else is Tuesday? It's like you can find the link between the two, and you can see everything. But when it's just like whoosh, and you're like, where that came from? You know?
Yeah.
And then there's the audio and visual hallucinations. And then
that's the one that freaks everybody out too.
Yeah.
Like if you see sometimes some homeless folks, they will often be exhibiting those signs.
And they're not people. It's a false, whatever. It's not true. It's a myth that they're violent, because most people with schizophrenia are not violent.
Oh, but
and they
people
exist. Yes,
are fearful.
Yes,
because they probably because they seem unpredictable,
right? And
which
it's
is
that
what
language
you're describing.
and all that. And there really isn't. There's a great movie called The Soloist.
Yeah, I love that.
It's
film.
so good, and the book is even better.
Yeah,
and it's real. It's a true story.
Right.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah,
that is
was
the
Jamie
best.
Foxx movie.
Yes, that is the best. And what's his name? Who's so amazing and so hot? Who played the schizophrenic guy? Oh, Iron Man. Robert Downey Jr.
He was in that.
He was the one who's schizophrenic in it.
Right.
And it is the best example of...
Why? Because you think it's realistic?
Oh, yeah. We watched it in class, and we did a whole paper on it, and like it was... We read the book, and then,
Yeah.
did a paper on it.
Right.
Yeah.
I just don't get that is really strange.
And I had an aunt who's schizophrenic.
Yeah. And did you notice this stuff?
Oh, yeah.
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 Dang.
And it's just like anything. There are times where they're more lucid and less, and
But isn't it the case it's not a lot that you can do? Like you can medicate, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, also it's said that often they don't want to be medicated because that isolation, that this disconnect with language and with other people, and this inability to process things in a normal way creates this isolation, where often the way that they find comfort is through the voices.
Yeah, those are their buddies.
And you take them away and talk about a feeling of isolation then.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of people who are not, med compliant because the alternative is really lonely.
You know how they say if you were to go into a room that actually was 0 decibels silent,
you would
that most people can't last more than a minute.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of feels like it would be like that.
Oh, you're so right.
Where it's like unsettlingly quiet.
I'm terrified of doing one of those hyperbaric chambers where like it's like you do that, but some sensory deprivation chambers or whatever.
Yeah.
And because I've heard that when you do that, you can trigger hallucinations.
I'm sure.
Because that your brain is dying
like
to make connections.
Gaps.
Yes, and it does that. And you can even do it. I've even watched videos where you take a ping pong ball and cut it in half and you put it over your eyes and you put headphones on and you kind of recreate that. And after a certain amount of time, you will be able to stimulate it in your bedroom.
And what is people think that it's transcendent or something?
Maybe.
That's what I've read, and I'm just like, that sounds
terrible.
No,
that's like, sounds like I'm too, no. I don't know. I'm like scared of.
I'd rather just watch Designing Women.
Yeah.
Call it a day.
Right. Oh, that's funny.
My God. I just got to the episode on that where I had never seen before about AIDS, and this was in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. It was so powerful. Wow. It was really great. And Ryan White, we were out with the other night, he is working on a documentary about the history of LGBT people in television. And he was talking about that episode and how important it was for so many gay folks. Mm-hmm. And anyway, I just love when you can watch something and still be moved. It's like 30 years later and be like, wow. And you forget because now AIDS is almost like no big whoop.
Yeah.
And they've done such a great job thanks to the research of at least allowing people to survive it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, at that time, it was a death sentence.
Right.
You
and
are
I just
going
keep thinking
to
of
die.
Jonathan Van Ness, who says, undetectable is untransferable.
Yeah. Does he always say that?
Well, I saw him in an interview recently saying that about like educating people on HIV and all this stuff and how we can make it undetectable now, which also means it's untransferable.
Yeah.
And so you can't, it's very like...
It's amazing how far we've come.
It really is.
But at that time, it was just sort of... I am trying to imagine what it would be like in the 80s to have been gay. Yeah. Oh. And know that all your friends are dying and you might... You know what I mean? Like, I can't even imagine how terrible that must have been.
And with the messages that, like, they're getting societally, it would be easy to feel like this is a...
There was a line in the episode...
or something like that.
Where
like, it's so fucked up.
There was an antagonist saying the talking points that, like, a lot of white Christian Americans would say, even now sometimes. Yeah. But she said the line, all the right people are dying. And I thought, and I think that's what they named the episode, and I thought, that is powerful.
It gives, like...
Right?
I just go back to that Oprah episode that she did with the town and the pool, where it makes me, like, I bawled my eyes out watching that. It's just like...
Because it's horrifying to think about now.
Yeah.
But at the
think
time...
about what that would be like for...
They were fearful because, they didn't know how it was contracted. Mm-hmm. Is that the right word? Yeah. I was going to by the way, making the clip show, I was like, I need to make a mix of all the times I'm like, what's the word?
Yeah, right?
What's the right word?
Yeah.
Well, one right word we know is Instacart.
Yes, we definitely know that.
That is always the right word.
Always.
We love this service because it's an app on your phone, and you can get groceries delivered to you in as fast as an hour. So, like...
Sometimes even faster.
Sarah needs, like, an emergency strawberries and... chocolate for a date.
Oh, yes. I might.
She could like beep, boop, boop, put it in.
Then I'll still have time to get ready.
Right. She doesn't have to stop getting ready. Someone else will do the job and bring it to her. And they'll keep all the hot stuff hot, cold stuff cold. They do it all from all your favorite local stores or, the chains, the retailers, around the country. It's so convenient. Try Instacart and get $10 off and free delivery on your first order. To get this limited time offer, download the mobile app or go to instacart.com and enter my code BRAINCANDY at checkout. That's $10 off and free delivery on your first order in the mobile app or at instacart.com. And don't forget to enter our code BRAINCANDY.
I love that I just use it as a verb now. I'm like, I just got to Instacart it. I got to Instacart. That's a verb, right? Yes.
Yes,
yeah.
Right.
I'm like, I got to Instacart that.
Yeah, man, it's an emergency.
No, don't worry. I'll just Instacart it.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Enough about designing women.
Yeah,
it's like our podcast should just should just take place in the 80s. I'd feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
What else, Sarah?
I saw a funny article about how, not funny, it's not funny for him at all, but a construction worker who has that, like, you know how when you wear like the orange construction suits and then they have the visible, like high visible, like reflective material on it. That's like, we need to make sure you don't get hit by cars. And like, because of global warming and because of increased temperatures, we have the first case of a first-degree burn from those little stripes on a construction worker's uniform getting so hot it burned him.
No.
So design, like people who design safety gear now have to rethink the designs because in an attempt to make them safer, they're creating a situation that could burn them.
Was there certain weird circumstances that...
It happened in Australia, and it was just from his jacket that he wore it, and it got so hot.
And he didn't think, I got to take this thing off?
I know, that is like...
I think he was sleeping on the job.
What
if? Was he interviewed in this article?
It said he took himself to the hospital after he like noticed like that he was getting, and then took it off and had big like strips that one around his chest, one around the waist, and the higher one was in direct contact with his back and caused the burn. And
that is bizarre.
Yeah, isn't that? I think he like went for a rash, and
they're like, I think how you're blaming it on climate change.
Well, they did. The article did. They were like, we need to take into consideration that this thing, like used for visibility, is actually maybe like causing more harm. And there's a lot. My brother was saying that about, all these things where like the intention is like good. My brother was talking about how plastics, the invention of plastic, was the worst thing for recycling, or like even recycling was one of the worst things for environments, because they're like, oh, you know what we can do? We can just recycle this plastic. Let's make everything out of plastic. And that was a mistake, because before everything was like glass reusable. Like we didn't have the option of like disposable stuff, and to like make things easier, we then ended up creating this huge problem. So in an attempt to make people safe, they're burning them.
Right. And I guess we're just always working out the kinks.
Kind of.
But dang. I just have a lot of questions for that guy. Or it was a man.
Yeah.
I would have some questions for him. Yeah. Like, wasn't there a moment where you're like, sure, I'm hot. Yeah.
Right.
Maybe they're not allowed to take them off.
Oh, maybe. That's a good point.
I mean, I would have made an exception.
But I've been like in the zone once and like not realized like
I can see you doing that.
I'm like, oh my God, what's
when
happening
Sarah
here?
decides she's in work mode, it is so fascinating to watch.
I am in, yes. I have been told this by exes. They all had a different name for it. One ex called it go mode.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, I need to like think of a name, because it's like a switch flips.
Yeah.
And then she's in the zone.
Yeah, there was one guy I went out with, and he was like, you do know that you're like crazy busy. Like, he's like, you do know
like
that
a tornado.
You've overscheduled a little bit. Like, there's no time in your life, right?
Yeah.
I was like,
do you prefer it that way? Is that the problem?
I think it's one of those things like, it feels like, I don't know, I got to fill. Yeah, maybe. I probably need a little
live
more
like you're dying
work-life balance, to be honest.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's charming at any rate.
It's exhausting.
I read this cool article about figure skating, and I think it was written a couple years ago, like during the winter, the last Winter Olympics, whenever that was. And I guess there was a performer, I vaguely remember it, and she did a routine to Beyonce's.
I remember this.
Girls Run the World and Halo. It's like a medley. And she wore a full body, like, unitard. And it was exceptional because mostly you only see those little skirts.
Yeah.
And, like, those outfits.
Yeah.
And it was just an article describing why that is the case, why you usually only see them in those little short dresses.
Why is that the case?
Well, there was this woman figure skater in like 1926. She was like the first nationally famous one who started wearing those little skirts, and then it became like the uniform.
Yeah.
But it also became embedded in this idea, which I'm sure people read about during the Nancy Kerrigan, Tonya Harding thing, about like being feminine,
correct,
elegant.
Yeah. That movie Tonya taught me all about that, which was so good.
Did you love it?
Loved it.
And whose side were you on?
Kind of hers.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that kind of what the film was doing? Was saying like, hey, you didn't know the full story?
Was so good. Allison Janney?
Yeah.
fucking amazing in that.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
No.
Suze, I think after I saw this movie, I'm like, you have to see this. And probably told you, and you still haven't seen it.
It's not that I was protesting. It's just like it's not
so good.
It's not on like Netflix. I don't think.
You
know, like my usual stuff.
Got it.
But I've heard so many good things. But I think that was one of the points was that Nancy Kerrigan was the prototype,
right?
And Tanya was not,
right?
And
she was WT.
And it's weird, right? And it's weird how like. It was saying how there's only a couple sports where you're required to sort of look pretty, like synchronized swimming.
And tennis.
Oh, yeah. And they're very particular about the wardrobe, too.
God forbid you.
There was even a rule in tennis where it was like, if you're wearing underwear that is in any way exposed, like a bra strap, it must be white and it can have a stripe of color no bigger than a millimeter.
This is stupid. Those are like what that... What about the game is going to change if they have 2 millimeters of a striped bra?
I think that it's implicit racial and class bias.
100% it is. And Serena Williams made a big point of that with her outfits when she wore the suit that was like tight. Suit. And then she was like, oh, you want me to wear a dress? Okay, I'll wear a tutu. And she made I loved it. I'm like,
it doesn't seem to be doing much to change it though. Like I love that she does that, but nothing ever. She gets fined all the time.
Yeah. And it's like, that's one of those things, like, this is the awareness portion of it. It's like we're raising awareness, and then hopefully it'll cause, like, future generations to be like, because it's really these, like, traditional. Like,
it's antiquated.
Yes, once they're, like, gone.
Right? Because that's what it said. Like, a lot of the people that run those organizations, and that's how the gymnastics abuse was perpetuated, too, is like these old...
Right.
Fucking idiots.
Right.
Linda.
Yes.
Who are enforcing these outdated norms.
On a smaller scale and a less, whatever one.
Yes.
I feel like that way about tattoos. And an older opinion on them. And, like, if you go into a company that maybe, like, no young person is like, I'm not going to hire them because of tattoos.
No.
Like, nobody cares at all anymore. People have even stopped saying, are you worried about what you're going to do when nobody gives a fuck anymore. Mm-hmm. You know?
My question with you had always been not, what are you going to do about work? It was more like, what are you going to do when you're, like, gross and old? And that's when you said technology will have advanced enough.
For me to just, like, get it done overnight.
Yeah.
And, like, gone. Or my other answer now is, like, like, what am I going to do when my skin is wrinkly and loose and covered in liver spots? I'm going to be upset that there's nice artwork on it. What about that?
Well, maybe because the wrinkles would distort the art, in theory, right? Yeah. Isn't that the suggestion?
Maybe, but, like, yeah, probably, but...
You're like, that'd be the least of my problems.
Right. Great. It can cover up some of the other, like, stuff we probably got going on in, like, my old age.
That's the thing, too, because it's not as if removing them, you'd be super, super hot all of a sudden.
Right. I'm like, what is it? Who cares?
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, and I've seen old ladies with tattoos. I'm like, I love it when I'm like, oh, that's future me. Look at that bad bitch.
I have never knowingly seen one.
Yeah. I saw an older woman recently that had a new tattoo on
wasn't
like a
that
full
a Dollywood?
sleeve.
Oh,
it was a sleeve. That don't think I didn't think of her real quick too. Like yes.
Have you ever seen those? I've seen old men with tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever seen an old lady though.
Yeah, there were a lot in Ojai where my grandma lived. It's like a hippie.
But do you think that they got them like in the 60s? And now they're
I think a lot of them got them older.
That's what I want to know though.
Yeah,
because I want to see how they age.
Right. But it'd also be very different how tattoos then aged versus now. You can even see the difference in years on my arm of improvement in ink.
Yeah?
Like, for example, Susie, that nobody else
Sarah.
can see. See this bird right here?
Yeah.
This used to be bright orange. This I got done in England where they had tattoo ink that wasn't as... like
potent.
As latest and greatest, I guess, as the stuff in America. And then about 4 years later, I got this part done down here.
Oh my god!
Look at that color,
right?
orange.
And that's bright orange.
Yep, no orange, a ton of orange.
Right,
just a few years difference.
Okay,
and like the tattoo qualities are, it's just different now.
Should we revisit the story of my dad's tattoo?
Yes.
I mean, this is just good times.
It's so good, and I can't ever see a limo without thinking of.
Do you know what's sad?
What?
When I went to Pittsburgh last year and was, saying goodbye. Mm-hmm. I really wanted to get a picture of it. Like,
I think it's why,
because it's gone now, you know? Like, I don't think we have any.
You do.
We do have his name, but not the limo.
Oh, not the limo.
Yeah.
Tell people.
Okay, so my dad was dumb and gave himself a tattoo. I think he was like 14 of his own name, which is hilarious on its own, because who does that? A narcissist. And he spelled his name, and it looks like Pall instead of Paul, Paul. And so we called him Pal. For years, he did not like it. He did not think it was funny, even though it definitely is.
Definitely is. I can see you saying that. Hilarious.
And then
whole family.
When he, I don't know, was in his 60s, he decided it was time to like cover that baby up. And that's when he got the limo.
Because what else are you going to get over?
Because he was a limo driver. Yes. But still.
Right. It's great.
What if we did that and got like headphones and a microphone?
I mean, but that would be kind of cute. Right?
Well, there's still time.
Yeah.
Just ask Pal.
I'm going to get a new tattoo, though.
Okay. What are we getting?
Yeah. And in fact, I purchased, because I'm like, I'm going to do this the right way. I want to really know what I want. I want to see if it looks good. I went on Amazon and I bought temporary tattoos in the same like shape of this area.
That's a good idea.
Because I want to do like my sternum and like chest. Kind of
Like,
just
you've been
really
wanting
low.
that for a really long time.
So I want to like see what it looks like, since I like, I don't have a boob. So
Well, how did it look?
I don't know. I haven't put it on yet. They just arrived yesterday.
And you're not telling what it is that you're going to get.
I think I'm kind of leaning towards kind of like a lotus flower, something like sacred geometry sort of lines. With maybe a little bit of like Buddhist Tibetan influence, because or not Tibetan, but like Thai influence of like those little, like the Thai tattoos.
That is really cool.
So yeah, like in the middle there.
Once you get like
black and white
sort of urge.
Yeah.
Then is that like...
I can't get it out of my head. I've had this. I've been talking about the same one for now. It's probably been like 2 years. So
does it feel different to you? Like this is scarier because it's a different part of your body, or is it like
no?
All
it's
the
almost
same?
more like I want to be sure now. Before I was impulsive. Like it was like,
cool.
yeah, I'll do whatever. And then the last time I got tattooed, I had crazy like remorse or like not like feelings of regret afterwards. Of like, remember I told you I looked in the mirror and I'm like, oh my God, I'm covered in tattoos, and like it never crossed my mind until then. And all I did was get some clouds added, and it wasn't even like. It was just so weird that I had that reaction to it. So I want to just make sure that I'm.
Do you wish you hadn't done that one?
No, I definitely am glad I did.
Okay. It was temporary.
Which I think really what that experience is just change.
Yes.
And I think it's like nice. Feeling anxiety. Like yeah. Over a haircut. When everybody's like, it looks great. And you're like, oh, it's the change that we're.
Yeah, the rest of us have that all the time.
Remember that woman who we had talked to a listener who had tattoo regret or something?
I don't remember that.
And I said that don't look at what is like, don't look at the tattoo, but look at like what else is going on in your life around that. Could this be anxiety that you've transferred?
That was your friend.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And then we talked. Yes, and could that be anxiety that you've transferred onto the tattoo because you were just looking to feel.
Yeah.
Like you had these feelings and you needed a source for that.
I have had that every time I've ever gotten my hair cut.
Yeah.
I think that's very common.
Yes.
Where you're sitting there like, oh no.
Right?
What did I do?
Right. And it could almost be so similar to what you...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And tattoos and stuff. Like most people feel that like...
I often have nightmares that I dye my hair black. And I wake up in the morning...
That's interesting.
So sad because of how long it took to get it back to blonde. And to think like, oh my, and I always like do it on a whim in my dream where it's like, I almost like accidentally dye my hair black. And then I'm like, what have I done?
That's terrible. How weird.
I've had
you need
this
to analyze that.
I know. It's like, it hasn't happened recently. So that's good. It's probably stuff from my marriage that needed to be worked out. Stuff like that.
Well, while she's worrying about that and working all that out, you guys can leave us a 5-star review and, tell us how great we are, preferably.
Shout out to the gentleman I went on a date with who listened and also gave us a 5-star review.
He did not.
Yes, he did. He was like, I reviewed
what if
you guys
it was like,
5
and
stars.
she gives a great BJ?
Yeah. I have not done that for him yet. So.
All right. See you guys next time.
All right, bye.
This podcast is brought to you by Wave Podcast Network. Check out all of our shows, including the Brain Candy Podcast, I Don't Get It, Coffee Convos, and Let's Talk About It.